It's time now for eThekwini Matters. Joining us today to provide some insights is the Chairperson of Governance and Human Capital, Councillor Nkosenhle Madlala. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning to you and to your listeners.
Thank you very much, sir. Now, this past weekend, the city of Durban once again has continued to be plagued by devastating floods. We have noticed that there seems to be a joint effort by all spheres of government to assist those affected families. Tell us more about what you are doing in the recovery process, please, sir.
Yes, indeed. Yesterday, Minister of Human Settlements, Minister Kadimek, MEC Duma, accompanied by our Mayor Club, visited the city and undertook site inspections to assess the conditions of the temporary residential accommodation government has provided for displaced families. The minister also announced plans to provide permanent housing for the flood victims. This demonstrates government's commitment to resettling of flood victims and also addressing their immediate and long-term housing needs. We are pleased to report that the 229 Lamontville flood victims will be permanently relocated to a land owned by the city where they'll be built permanent housing, and consultations with communities around are underway as we speak. As a temporary measure, 69 of the affected families are being housed in other friendly accommodations like your Impala Lodge in the city center, and the 93 households will be supplied with building materials, and 2 will receive support in terms of your temporary residential units. We want to state that the recent floods in some areas of the city that we experienced overwhelmed our stormwater drainage systems. It is important to mention that flooding during heavy rain is related mainly to the size of the stormwater of the storm event itself and the capacity of our stormwater drainage systems, as well as the nature of the debris that are carried by the water. That is why we are pleading with our communities not to dump illegally, and also businesses to dispose of their waste in designated areas so that they don't cause a problem during the storms.
Councillor, are you still there? My alarm seems to have
1 in 10 year storm events. However, we noticed that the 2017, 2019, 2022 and 2023 floods, and scientists will tell us that it was a 1 in 100 years floods, and they were overwhelmed. Also, the recent ones in 2024 and 2025 were the 1 in 20 years and 1 in 40 years, meaning that the intensity of the floods has become unpredictable for the city. Therefore, the recurring floods need to be scrutinized against the existing capacity of the infrastructure, and so that we understand the risk of the current capacity. Given this background, the city has embarked on a few initiatives, one of which is the early warning systems. And we are pleading with our communities that when we issue such warnings, they listen and they move from low-lying areas and they don't build in flood plains and all of that. Secondly, we are developing new road and stormwater designs that are taking into consideration the current realities of the new normal. We are maintaining our river and stream systems, we are cleaning all of them, and we are asking our communities to assist. We are revising the flood lines to incorporate the new projections and the 15% increase that is being projected. We are confident that these interventions will further climate-proof the new developments in our city.
Brilliant news. That's a wonderful response after those heavy floods this past weekend. This morning on eThekwini Matters here on East Coast Radio, we're chatting to the Chairperson of Governance and Human Capital, the Councillor Nkosenhle Madlala. Councillor, there was some good news during the floods, as we saw that as we grappled with them in various parts of our city. Dylan Naidu navigated a flooded golf course at the Durban Country Club to win his first European Tour title at the Investec SA Open Championship. How did you feel about that? What is the news from the massive event that took place? Councillor, are you still there? Tricky lines these. I can hear a little bit of the councillor. You still there, sir?
Yes, sir.
Are you back? Yes, about Dylan Naidu.
Yes,
what's your feeling about that?
Oh, yes. As a city, we are delighted that the event was, we thank the organizers for bringing the event to our city, and we are pleading with them to stay. We want to congratulate Dylan Naidu for becoming the first player of color to lift this coveted cup.
Correct.
We trust that this achievement will inspire many young people from disadvantaged communities to participate in the sport, especially golf, because it was viewed in those old days as an elitist sport. The leadership of the city has made a commitment to continue to attract events of this nature in Durban because it boosts the economy and creates jobs. This tournament brought scores of internationally acclaimed golfers, and most importantly, it was televised to millions of people around the world, and therefore positioning our city as a globally competitive city and a destination for major international events.
Correct. That is a wonderful bit of news from the past weekend. Councillor, thank you for your time this morning. Chairperson of Governance and Human Capital, Councillor Nkosenhle Madlala on East Coast Radio's eThekwini Matters this morning here with Mike V sitting in for the East Coast Breakfast team.